and go to this one. All right, all this technology stuff. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer because we're going to be observing some balloons because I like balloons. And remember, we are doing this lockdown thing, so you guys are doing really well. I guess yesterday was only 8. There's like 2 new cases of this COVID, and then like 6 probable. So New Zealand's doing well, and we're talking about going to level 3. Not sure when, but that means you still have to go to. I don't think they go to school. You don't go to school at level 3. It's not until level 2. So, all right, so we're doing observations today. And observations is when there's 2 different kinds that we'll talk about observations. But the first one is you use your senses. So it's taking in information of the world around you. And it's quite interesting in science, you know, the kind of observations you can make. And, oh yeah, we'll just look at our quick, oh yeah. Oh, I didn't really write too much. So we're looking at observations, and that's all I wrote for that one today. So I'm going to X out of that. That one's gone. Oh wait, no, we'll go back to this. All right. So back to me. So it's about using your senses to gather information. So you got your senses, 5 senses. So you got your eyes, your nose, you taste, so it's smell, sight, hearing, and then your feel. So those are your 5 senses, and that's how you're taking in information all the time, whether you realize it or not. But it's just kind of focusing that and learning how to get to having that information. And so there's a lot of things like in science, you maybe like you don't want to touch it, you can hear it though, and you can smell it, some things. And tasting, you got to be a little bit careful about when you taste things, you know, because there's some things you actually don't want to taste. All right. So you can do this, but this is one of those things. So we've got like a water balloon, right? So it's like, it's like a kind of spongy and bouncy guy. So what I do, so you can make the observations. This kind of feels cool. You can see the kind of reflections and stuff like that around it. But what I like to do with these, so this is kind of an outside thing. I'm doing this inside, but if you do this outside because it could be extremely messy. So what I did for observations is we look at this. I froze one. So I took a water balloon and then I froze it. And then it takes like another day or something. And then you can take the rubber off the outside. And then there's lots of things going on in here. You can see all the little crystals. Like I can take that. You can use a little magnifying glass and you can see like the little bubbles and you can see cracks and things. Let me see if we can zoom in on that. I mean, it looks just like a big chunk of ice. But then when you can look quite closer and you can see what's going on in there. Right? Like there's a big crack along here, and it changes over time too. So lots of cool bubbles, right? You can shine lights on it. You could shine a laser through there. That would be kind of cool if you have a laser sticking around. But what I like to do is I like to start putting salt on these things. Just a little bit of salt. And what salt does right away, it starts melting the ice. Oh, it's actually making noises now. I don't know if you can hear it. So, I don't know, I can hear it. But this is one of your observations. So it takes a little time. You can draw pictures. A lot of people draw pictures about what's going on. Here I'll go back to this. So, and then looking at different kinds, we're going to give that a second. You can kind of see it dripping and melting along here, creating little rivers. And so the different kinds of observations are, when you look at these, what they call, those big words, qualitative. So it's just, this is what we talk about, using your senses. It's kind of like the quality. Look at it and go, okay, what's happening? You just kind of say, what does it mean to you? Okay, so this could actually, somebody will hear something different or they could see something different. So that's the quality of your observation. And then the quantitative is when you use instruments. So these are measurable in their numbers. So these don't change ever, okay? Because they're pretty strict: rulers, balances, graduate beakers, things like that, all right? So that's the difference. So those two different kinds of observations. We're gonna go back to this guy. All right, and once you can see it's starting to create these little channels and rivulets. I like rivulets, is a good word. You can put, you can put like little food coloring on it. And you can see, it makes you kind of see the, so each little, one of these little channels that comes down is made by the salt. So that's the salt melting the ice and putting little colors on it, which is kind of cool. And at the same time, you can actually, it's making a little bit of a mess, but also you can see it's got little cracks in there. And I'll move this around. The cracks are getting bigger and it's actually making noises. And there's like little fireworks going on inside, which you may not be able to see. I'm going to keep going with this. A little bit of another color. It's just kind of fun to do. All right, I'm going to see what other pictures. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to see what other pictures we have. Oh yeah, in science. So this is kind of the, I'm going to throw this in there because this is the scientific process. All right, so observations leads to questions like what's going on, and the questions form this hypothesis. I think what are we going to test? You know, how long is it going to take, or something like that. And you get data, draw conclusions, and share results. All right, so if you ever want to do like a science fair project or something like that, that's just a little quickie on that. And so I'm going to show you one more thing on this this big ice chunk. I'm going to come back just to me for a sec. All right, so when I do this, I'm going to start a little fire in the house. This is definitely an outside thing. What I've got is this carbide. Okay, it looks like a rock. All right, so it is a rock, but once this rock, a friend of mine is a caver, and they used to use it. Now with LEDs, they don't use these. These are used to create acetylene gas, and these make a very, very volatile fire gas. So gas you can set on fire. It's called acetylene. They use it for welding. I can smell it right now. Usually you keep it outside of the air because the air has moisture in it and will turn it into gas right away. It becomes kind of dangerous, right? So this is what they used to use underground. So this is the carbide lamp. There's a little, you drip water on it. So as you can adjust how much water goes in, and then how much water goes in gives you the fire coming out. All right, so I'm going to show you how this works in real life. Okay, so here we go. Onto the ice. All right, and I'm going to use a little, actually, all right, I'm going to tell you, one more thing before we go. I'm going to head out. But what's going to happen is that I'm going to start this little fire going. And the thing is, once it starts melting the ice, it creates more water, and then it's it's definitely a chemical reaction. So as the chemical reaction, as the fire goes, it melts more ice and creates more gas, which creates more fire, which creates more water from the ice, which keeps going. So it kind of gets going and keeps going. So what's going to happen, I'm going to light this on fire, and then I'm going to go outside. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to say goodbye now and see you tomorrow. But once it gets going, I'm going to keep this going for a little bit, and then I'm just going to cut the camera and head outside. So, okay, here we go. All right, so this is the ice. We've made our observations. We can make some more observations. So I'm going to put this here. All right. Okay, you can see it happening. You can see the bubbling. All right, so that's gas. That's acetylene gas. All right, I'm just gonna wait for it to go. So it's melting. I'm gonna see what happens when I light this. I may have to go quickly, okay? Oh! I'll blow it out. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, so that's gonna be it for today, guys. I'll zoom this out. That's our ice and acetylene for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm gonna put this on YouTube. I'm gonna take this outside because I think it's gonna be a little hard to stop it right now while we're inside. So thanks for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, have a good weekend. Bye.